The other day, I had a conversation with one of my mentees, and I'm sure many of you can relate to. She said, look, I've been working really hard. I'm hitting all my targets, and yet no promotions and no raise. I feel stuck. What am I doing wrong? I told her, look, first of all, that is a good question, but that is a wrong question to ask. You need to reframe that question. She said, what do you mean? And I told her, look, you're focused on getting a promotion, but promotions don't just happen because you clock in, follow instructions, and meet expectations. You don't get paid more for just being around. You get paid more for the value that you create. And she asked, okay, how do I create more value? And I told her, now that is the right question to ask. First, you need to focus on creating value rather than just doing your job. The more value you create, the more visibility you get, and the more potential income that you will attract. Second, you need to learn and lead innovation, drive change, and not just maintaining the status quo. And finally, you need to build a stellar and not just a strong personal brand so that you can attract opportunities and the opportunities can find you instead of you chasing them. Now, this shift in mindset is what separates the average employees from high performers and high earners. In this video, I'm going to share with you some key ideas like the concept of value and how learning and leading innovation plays a key role in your success and how to strengthen your personal brand so that you can be a high-value professional, get the promotions that you deserve, and maximize your earning potential. So let's dive right in. What exactly is value? Let's define it. Now, value is the contributions you make or the benefits you provide to your employers, your clients, or to the marketplace. The more valuable you are, the more you earn. But here's the catch. Not all value is created equal. There are two key aspects to value: relevance and impact. Now let's talk about relevance. Relevance, it's about solving the right problems at the right time. You could be the hardest working person in the room, but if what you are doing is not addressing a real need, it's not valuable. Think of it this way. A company facing declining sales doesn't just need an employee who is hardworking. They need someone who can find ways to increase revenue or improve customer retention. Now that is relevance. So ask yourself, am I solving a pressing problem? Is my work aligned with the business goal? Am I solving problems that actually matter to my employer or the marketplace? Am I addressing challenges that are current, urgent, and meaningful? Now, the second part of value is impact. Impact is defined as how much of a difference your contributions make. It can be tangible, like increasing revenue, cutting costs, or improving efficiency. Or it can be intangible, like boosting team morale, enhancing customer experience, or driving innovations. For example, if you automate a process that saves the company hundreds of hours a year, that's high impact contributions. If you mentor team members and help them perform better, that's intangible impact that also add value. The higher impact you create, the more valuable you become. Here's the key takeaway. If you want to increase your earnings, focus on both high relevance and high impactful work. Stop thinking in terms of just doing your job. Start thinking in terms of solving the right problems and making measurable impact. That's how you truly increase your worth in the marketplace and your workplace. Now that we understand value, let's talk about how valuable are you to the marketplace. Have you ever wondered why some people earn significantly more than others, even when they are in the same position or in the same field? It all comes down to one thing. Your value to the marketplace. The marketplace, whether it is your employer, your clients, or the industry as a whole, compensate you based on the value that you bring. Now, you don't get paid for the time alone. You get paid for your results. And your ability to reduce that results comes down to 4 key factors, which I call CASE: knowledge, ability, skills, and experience. The acronym is CASE, K-A-S-E. CASE stands for knowledge. Knowledge is what you know, your expertise, your understanding of the industry, and your awareness of best practices. The more you know, the better decisions you can make. But knowledge alone is not enough. It's not just about having the information. It's about applying the right information at the right time. Let's move on to A, ability. Ability is your capacity and your capability to get things done. Now moving on to S, skills. Skills are the practical proficiencies you've acquired through practice and experience. The broader and the deeper your skill set, the more valuable you become. If you do something that very few people can do, you will always be in high demand. Now moving on to E, experience. Experience is the practical application of your knowledge, ability, and skills over time. The more experience you have solving problems and delivering results, the more valuable you become. Now, what sets you apart with experience is that your experience gives you insight, efficiency, and the confidence that others don't have. But here is something important about experience. Experience isn't just about time spent, it's about lessons learned. 2 people who have 10 years of experience, but one has spent those years repeating the same task, while the other has been growing, evolving, and taking on bigger challenges. Who do you think is more valuable, gets paid more? Now that we understand how the marketplace pays for value, the more you invest in your case, the more valuable you become, and the more the marketplace is willing to pay for you. Let's put this into perspective, and let's talk about numbers to illustrate how the marketplace works. For example, let's compare how the marketplace rewards 2 different workers. One, on the left side, we have a minimum wage worker, Jim D. That's me. I'm a bobarista and I serve boba tapioca milk tea drinks. Now, if you haven't had one, I highly recommend it. Be careful, it can be very addicting. So I'm making about $18 an hour, and assuming that I'm working full-time, so that comes out to be about 2,080 hours a year. My total income comes out to be $37,440 a year, roughly about $38,000. The right side, we have Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Alphabet, the parent company of Google. In 2024, he made a total of $226 million. That includes his base and stock options. Now let's see how much Sundar makes per hour based on his $226 million earnings. So I'm taking $226 million divided by 2,080 hours per year. Wow. So he makes over $108,000 per hour, which means he earns nearly 6,000 times more than me as a minimum wage worker here in San Francisco. That means every hour, Sundar Pichai makes as much as 6,000 minimum wage workers combined. Okay, now here's the fun, crazy, bizarre, and mind-blowing part. Let's say that if I wanted to earn as much as Sundar Pichai in 1 year, that is $225 or $226 million a year, how long would it take for me if I'm actually at $18 an hour? It would require for me to put in 12,500,000 hours. Now, that comes out to be 6,000 years. I don't know about you, but I don't have 6,000 years. So the question is, why does the market reward Sundar Pichai so much more than me? Is it luck? No, it's about value. See, the decisions that he makes impact billions of dollars, drive close to about $3 billion in revenue, and shape the entire industry. The marketplace rewards that kind of high relevance and high impact work. This is not to say that I'm not a valuable person to my family or to my community, but this is what the marketplace is willing to pay me for the value that I bring. This is why increasing your case, knowledge, ability, skills, and experience is so critical. The more value you create, the higher your earnings potential. You may be thinking, okay, I'm not a CEO. How can I increase my value and earnings? That's what we're going to cover next. How can you position yourself to create more value and increase your potential earnings? Let's shift focus a bit and talk about innovations and value creations using the diagram that was published by Gartner in 2018, which provides invaluable insights into how C-suite executives drive value creation at scale. Understanding the concepts in this diagram will help you create greater value and also greater success for your organization. So let's dive right in. The first one here we're looking at here is a quadrant here. As I'm drawing this here, right in the center is your C-suite executives. This could be your CIO or CEO of the organization. Now on top of left corner here, I'm labeling that as sustaining innovations. I'm going to touch on that later on. But right underneath it, it's called driving performance. This is where the C-suite executives are responsible for creating strategies, systems, and structures in place to push the organizations toward its goals. This means aligning teams, setting ambitious goals, as well as ensuring operations run efficiently. Now think about it. Every major decision at the executive level directly affects companies' performance, from revenue growth to market positioning. Now, let's move down to the left bottom quadrant here. This is what we call the enabling productivity. Executives down here just don't focus on goals. They also ensure that employees have the resources, tools, and environment to do their best work. This includes removing any bureaucratic barriers or streamlining and simplifying processes to make things more efficient. The goal here is simple. Help employees work smarter, more efficient, more effective, and not harder. Moving down from the disruptive innovations, which is the top right quadrant here, leading innovation. Now, this is where we step into the disruptive innovation where major shifts happen. Your leaders and your C-suite executives aren't just focused on keeping the company running. They are leading changes in response to market shifts, new business models, and also any emerging opportunities. Now, the last right bottom quadrant is unlocking capabilities. This means that giving employees the knowledge, tools, and mindset to innovate and stay ahead. This includes upskilling teams, adopting emerging technologies, and fostering an innovation-driven culture. Now think about it. Think about companies investing in AI, cloud computing, or automation. Leaders who recognize these trends early and prepare their workforce accordingly create exponential value. Now that we understand the concept of sustained innovation and disruptive innovation, the next logical question is, okay, if I'm not a leader in the organization, how is this applicable to me? Now that is a good question, but here is the exciting part. You don't have to be a CEO or a leader in your organization to create value in these four areas. Now let's remove the executives and put you right at the center of this framework. What can you do? Where can you help out? Can you help drive performance? Or can you help enable productivity by streamlining processes and be a problem solver and not just a problem spotter? What about leading transformation? Can you stay ahead of the trends and propose new ideas? Or can you unlock new capabilities within your team by learning new skills and develop new capabilities for yourself and also for your team? Now that is the mindset that you need to have. The bottom line is this. C-suite leaders don't get paid for their time. They get paid for the results they produce and the value that they create. If you want to increase your earning potential, start thinking like an executive and leading where you're at, even if you are not one yet. Now that we understand the importance of value, learning and leading innovation, let's talk about personal brand. Let's talk about how you can build a personal brand that can help amplify your value. Now, whether you like it or not, your personal brand determines your conversation. One of my mentors shared this very powerful insight with me where he said, perception is reality. This is how others view you at your workplace. So I want for you to reflect on this. How do your colleagues perceive you? Is your personal brand shoddy, strong, or stellar? Your answer to this question can significantly influence the trajectory of your career as well as your opportunities for growth. If your brand is stellar, your influence is greater, your visibility is broader, and your opportunities are abundant. You will influence more, you will lead more, and you will achieve more, and you will succeed more, and ultimately you will earn more. The question is, how do you build a stellar personal brand? It all comes down to 4 key components, which I call PBF, Personal Branding Framework. Let me walk you through this framework on building a stellar personal brand. On the top left quadrant here, I call expertise. Be so good that they can't ignore you. Whatever industry that you're in or wherever you are in your career, be the master of your craft. Be the best in your niche and also be that go-to person. Be so good that people seek you out. Let's move to the right top quadrant. Here is what I call initiative. This is about taking ownership and act like an owner. Now, expertise alone is not enough. You need to lead, take action, and solve problems. People with strong personal brands don't wait for instruction. They take ownership. So think like an owner and have a problem-solving mindset. Just don't complain about the situation, but come up with solutions and lead by example. Set the standard for excellence. Now let's move to the left lower quadrant. This is what I called personality, building relationships and differentiating yourself. Your technical skills may get you in the door, but your people skills will determine how far you go. So learn how to build relationships, connect with people, and make an impact. Develop your unique style. That means being authentic and also stand out from the crowd, as well as influence your work culture by bringing positive energy and collaborations. Let's move to the right lower quadrant. This is what I call character. This is about trust, integrity, and accountability. Be someone people can rely on. No matter how skilled you are or how charismatic you are, if people don't trust you, your personal brand will not serve you well. So always be honest and ethical. Always act with integrity. Be accountable. Follow through on your commitments. Be reliable. Be the person people trust that you can deliver results. The key takeaway here is, remember, your personal brand isn't about how you present yourself. It's about how much value you create and communicate to the marketplace. If your personal brand is shoddy, your earnings will be shoddy. If your personal brand is strong, your earnings will be high. And if your personal brand is stellar, your earning potential will be outstanding. So focus on developing a stellar personal brand for yourself. So let me walk you through another extension of the personal brand that I call the 4 C's. We've talked about creating value, learning and leading innovations, as well as building a stellar personal brand. But now let's bring it all together to this one final framework, the 4 C's. Let's talk about the first C, curiosity. If you want to earn more, you have to learn more. The biggest earners are the biggest learners. So be curious, ask a lot of questions, learn about your company's mission, vision, as well as goals and priorities. And how do you plug into that to help your organization become successful? For example, imagine you are a cybersecurity professional. Now, instead of just focus on your own task, you get curious about how cybersecurity ties to your business growth, customer trust, and also regulatory compliance. Now, instead of just doing your job, you are aligning your expertise with your company's priorities, making yourself more valuable, right? Let's move to the second C, which is consume. The information that we take in shapes our value because what we feed our mind determines the value that we can create. So it's critically important for us to consume the right kind of knowledge that makes us better. So that means that we stay updated on industry trends and also learn about emerging technologies and tools and methods, and also researching our competitors to understand what are they innovating and what can we learn from them. For example, think about a team member who is actively reading and following industry trends versus someone who is just showing up and just putting in the bare minimum. Who do you think is more valuable to the organization? Let's now move to the third C, which is connect. This is about connecting the dots and building bridges with different members across the organization, because we know that leaders aren't just problem solvers, they are dot connectors as well. They recognize relationships between trends, problems, and opportunities, and they connect people, ideas, and solutions. Now be that connector. Build relationships across the departments and don't stay in silo. Identify cross-team opportunities where teams can collaborate for greater impact. And also facilitate communication between groups that don't normally interact and spot patterns, connect problems, and connect solutions. For example, a marketing team struggling with cybersecurity risk for their campaigns. You, as an expert in cybersecurity, recognize the issue and proactively connect them with the IT solutions. Now, you added value beyond your role, right? So it's important to be that connector. The final C is contribute. This is about taking initiative and going beyond your job description. The best way to prove your value is to create value. That means that contributing doesn't happen in isolation. It is built on the first three C's that we talked about. You need to be curious, you need to consume the right information, and you need to connect the information so that you can contribute in a greater way. How can you contribute effectively? First, take initiative. Volunteer for projects that impact the organization. Second, think strategically. Go beyond your job description and your role and understand the bigger picture. And third, develop expertise. Become the go-to person in area of critical importance. For example, suppose that your company is launching an AI-driven security system. Because you were curious, you learned about the AI trends, you consumed insights about implementations, and then you connect with the right experts in different departments. Now, you're proactively volunteering to help implement the systems, and you understand the ins and outs, and you become the in-house expert. Guess what? You just added a lot of value, and your promotions and raises are just right around the corner, right? So in closing, here are some key takeaways. At the end of the day, the marketplace doesn't pay you for your time. It pays you for the results that you produce and the value that you create. So ask yourself these questions. How might I increase my case? That is knowledge, ability, skills, and experience. Also, how might I learn and lead innovation at my workplace? And finally, ask yourself this question. Am I building a stellar personal brand for myself? If not, then here's the question that Jim Rohn, the motivational speaker and teacher, asked. If not you, then who? If not now, then when? My final closing thought that I want to leave with you is from the quote from Satya Nadella, Microsoft CEO. He says, "Don't wait for your next job to do your best." Now, too often we think success comes after the promotion, after the recognition, after someone gives us permission. But the truth is, Your next level starts now. You don't need a new title to create value. You don't need a bigger paycheck to think like a leader, or you don't need permission to create a powerful, a stellar personal brand for yourself. So be curious, keep learning, keep making connections, and keep making meaningful contributions. Because the more value you create today, the more opportunities will chase you tomorrow. So start now, elevate your effectiveness, and make meaningful impact at the present moment. Until next time, take good care of yourself.